Hello guys, good evening everyone, happy Friday, happy weekend to all of you, and welcome to the qualifying in the Sebring 500 in the Le Mans Virtual Series. We are live on the stream of today, on the Traction GG stream. Well, that's at least what I thought. If I pick the
great to have those guys racing in this. It's going to be interesting to see, are we going to see the likes of Aston Martin and Porsche? Are we going to see either one of them go and take a pole position? Yet to take a pole position this season, but two cars that have been on the podium. Will we see them go and beat the BMWs and Ferraris that have dominated qualifying?
It is such a unique circuit. The bumps mean you have a very specific setup of car, and the cars are out on circuit. We've got green flag at the end of pit lane, and therefore we can go into our qualifying session of 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was this car here that took pole position here last year and went on to win the race as well. They lead the championship so far on 58 points ahead of Red Bull Racing. Let's see what they can do 20 minutes to go, so they'll go out and do a warm-up lap, get their first run in, and then I'm sure we'll see them come in for a tyre change and repeat that process a couple of times. That tends to be what we've seen throughout the season, and they'll try and get a few runs in throughout, but no surprise to see our championship leaders the first ones out of the pit lane, and a clear track ahead of them now to play with.
Gotta say, I love the camera angles
when you get out
track.
into Sebring. A clear track with nobody making any errors in front of you. Just how
weather forecast is dry for both.
Look at the body language of the car bouncing around over these curbs. The BMW M8 GTE is a big machine anyway. The circuit's not very, very wide as well in most places. It is a circuit from the 1950s, where in fact the 1959 US Grand Prix, the very first time Formula One ever went to the US, it was held on this circuit, didn't have a very good audience, so soon moved away, and it's become the home of endurance racing in the US of A.
Oh.
A concrete
surface
for the Ullman Straight, the back
BMW
straight,
red
which was
line
once
pole,
a runway. This
Porsche
is
pole,
an airfield circuit originally, and then this
thoughts?
legendary sunset bend at the end of the straight. Just look how the car bounces around through this long right-hander.
There's no obvious racing line through there either. There's about 10 or 12 different racing lines you can take through that corner, which is always fantastic to watch, as we can see D-Station, who are having an absolutely fantastic season in comparison. They got their best ever qualifying result last time out, and then their best race result. So let's see what they can go and do this time.
The concrete section over the start and finishing line and into a very fast turn one.
In this
big slide from the 777 D-Station Aston Martin into turn one, and then you head up to a relatively fast turn two, but the more importantly, much narrower turn two. You can see we then move on to a tarmac, more legitimate kind of a surface, but even that surface has been patchworked over the years, and so braking zones, slower corners like this one at the back of the circuit is still very different, and you go into one turn, you've got a different grip level to another turn. A real challenge for these drivers, and a challenge also with the narrowness and the sweepingness of the circuit when these guys come into racing, to stay out of the way of the LMP category that will be trying to lap.
Yeah, that's one thing that's always an issue around here. Traffic. It was a big problem throughout the race last year. It's a big challenge for the
Ferrari's going to have good chances here
to get through, as you can see,
because the Ferrari is
just so
super easy over the bumps.
So when you've got one of the LMP cars trying to get past a battle in the GT class, it's always gets a little bit tricky, but great stuff to watch. So do make sure you're with us for the race tomorrow. It's going to be absolutely fantastic.
But since
BMW looking really good here in the hands of Kevin Siggy, the 71 championship leader, run by Team Redline for BMW, a works machine with the Verstappen.com livery coming into this final corner to set a benchmark for the rest to follow.
Jerome, Christian, thank you for
dropping down a gear early to get the traction out the turn and not have too much wheel spin as it comes across the line. The time to beat then will be a 1:56.788.
And we can see Sim Marinello look like they're on for a good time as well. They've gone purple through the second sector.
And GT Pro, then the first lap is already so crazy.
Have gone to the top. Risto Capet going
there you see the Ferraris, Capet,
as Sim Marinello
and
after
Malgera.
That purple second sector do go quickest.
There is the R8G liveried Ferrari 888, second fastest. Risto Capet from Estonia is the driver being trusted with qualifying, already sliding around the rear end, not quite biting in the way that you would like. There is an element of driving these cars a little bit with the tail and moving the rear end around.
Thank you guys. Appreciate the
certainly
feedback.
It seems to be the fastest way to get these cars around the circuit, although you would say when it comes to a race setup it's just going to ruin the tyres. So two very different approaches when it comes to the race tomorrow and the qualifying today.
Yeah, I mean, with this,
thank you, Jerome. Appreciate it.
Out of the car for that one lap.
So 15 minutes to go here for the GTEs.
So far, the Ferraris look
LMP is obviously coming straight after that.
With
Yanni and David at the wheels.
You can see 1, 2, and 3 for Sim Marinello, SF Velas, and for R8G.
Look at it. It is a Ferrari galore track.
In 4th place now, championship
it's
leaders.
Like crazy.
In 5th place, so struggling.
How the Ferraris appear at the front. It would be 1, 2, 3, and
but look
5.
how close it is as well. less than 2 tenths.
No further Ferraris in the grid then.
There we go.
First attempt, and they're all still.
Honestly, I'm very surprised if there is no Ferrari win tomorrow.
It's very hard to go testing at the circuit in which you're racing.
Yes, they do not have the big advantage of their efficiency because it's not a 4-hour race, it's more like a 4.5-hour race, so everyone is about to do 4 pit stops in the GTE category.
This is very much a dress rehearsal, an opportunity.
But still, of course, you can save you 1 or other litre on the pit road in the end. The Ferrari is quite strong around Sebring because of its numerous acceleration zones. So the only no big acceleration zone for a GTE is turn 1 and the final turn. All the other turns, like especially 2, 5, 6, 10, 13, the triangle chicane, 14, 15, 16, is all second, third gear exits where the Ferrari is extremely strong because of its torque. Additionally, the Ferrari takes the curb and the bumps a lot easier than any other GTE, so it's just more easy and more controlled to drive.
Have a nice clean
and
track,
on top of that, I think the disadvantage of the Ferrari having a low top speed has been removed with the latest BOP, so they also don't suffer on the straights. The Ferrari is most likely the top
maybe
pick
that
right
hasn't
now.
worked as well as the philosophy might have suggested.
Yeah. Now, the other thing
is
that
see how that pans out.
Get 3 stabs at a lap, they will only probably get the 2.
As the second try, the second final laps now being put in. The Alessandro, I think, has just started in the BMW.
It does mean that the track's a little bit more
Only last.
And it means that they should
haven't had a lap time from the first one.
No risk of anyone spinning ahead of them on a flying lap.
So,
an opportunity to look into the sim rig room of Michele Di Alessandro. Triple screen, direct drive wheel. You can see the inputs on the bottom right and what the game is seeing on the top right, and it's pretty much exactly the same other than him scratching his head.
Good, looks like a good, decent lap so far. 44 flat through the first section.
44.0, that is 3.5
tenths off. So struggling a little bit through there. It would be good enough for a top 6 possibly. It depends what he can do through the second section.
Looks like a bit of understeer there. Throw the front end in.
Airplay.
Wasn't a
what is
lot
airplay?
Of oversteer, and we saw with Kevin Siggy's lap, the car was really dancing on the very edge. Oh,
wow,
that was a mistake.
He nearly lost it into the triple.
Trying to throw the car in. I did notice that the approach seems to be quite
already a second off the pace.
If you've got a car that isn't really working
or is
for
that
you,
cumulative?
The more aggression
can't
will
remember. I
generate
think it's adding up, so I think he's now a second
speed.
off.
So with 1 corner to go, maybe Di Alessandro goes, do you know what? This isn't going to work out for me. I'm nearly a second off. I bail now, and that'll give me a bit more time later on.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame him if he did do that. Yes. Sensible to do it. Wasn't going to be anywhere.
Siggy, sector 1 purple, 43.598.
Back at the 888 R8G,
I think that's purple by roughly a tenth.
Siggy has just gone quickest.
But the BMW is strong in the first sector, then luck somewhere in the middle sector. We'll see what the Ferraris are doing.
Second attempt.
Cap hit 0.761, so 1.5 tenths off.
Has just done that as well.
In the Ferrari.
Capit is already a tenth and
Collins
a half
with the Porsche, identical to Capit, just a thousandth off.
And slightly down actually on his last time. That's what you're seeing on that graphic. Ooh, and a swapper there as he goes on to the dirty stuff, and the rear end steps away from him.
That's going to be interesting. So let's see.
Capit may not find an improvement here. The track development is not going to be as big.
He's losing 1.5 tenths in the middle sector. Let's see Capit in the Ferrari.
Place.
He loses another tenth as well.
We're in the kind of the dusk of the day, so maybe even temperature dropping at the end of the lap. But
sliding a bit too much over that curve.
Here, and the time is dropping. Again, he'll see that on his dashboard.
So
in fact, he'll have microseconds on his dashboard. Might be worth bailing out of this one as Siggy comes through the final turn. It's Ferrari 1, 2, 3 at the moment. But Kevin Siggy with the fastest first sector of anybody. A very good second sector. Comes to the line and only goes second. Still, Ferrari leads, and that Ferrari is improving.
Yeah, brilliant second sector from Sim Maranello. They look like they're going to go and improve on that time. But everyone out there is improving. You've got the likes of Simsa on to improve. BMW or BS Plus competition are going to improve as well. I don't see anyone that hasn't really improved. I think Project One are the only team that are going a little bit slower. Other than that,
yeah, but Sim Maranello with a blistering middle sector.
In the 88,
wow.
P6.
Look
what
at it.
Is the gap going to be extended to? Sim Maranello over the line and does improve. Christian Malguera gets a 1.
Christian, we're racing tomorrow.
381, and it's 2.5 tenths better than Kevin Siggy's second attempt, which
Sharon,
promoted him up into second position. That is a fantastic
tweaks
lap
and adaptations
from
to
the Italian.
To the base track, but nothing too special.
Yet to be on the podium,
you know,
that's,
advertising boards, some track limits for qualifying,
Maranello,
stuff like that. Nothing too special.
Being 2 tenths back would probably put them on the front row at this rate. If they make their way round the final corner, they come into pit lane. So SF Velas in third place for them so far. Marla are out of sequence, so will this be, I think this will be them starting a flyer.
Yep. Bailed on that first one, sits in 16th position, just off our graphic on the left-hand side as the last car, the car without
let's see.
a lap
the Alessandro
time to its name.
Kind of needs a lap now.
Again, a Works BMW,
we are looking
sorry, it's a non-Works BMW entry. We've got the Works BMW entry with Team Redline, and we've got a BS competition
that looks bumpy.
Car as well in the field.
BMW is not very nice over the bumps.
in our entry list, run as a legitimate sponsor, Marla.
Hempius, you definitely should.
Engineering company, and this
beautiful
car
cars,
now
as
I
you can
think
see.
is run by the BS Plus competition agency.
It was a team that ran in the LMP category last year and then jumped down to GTs, or jumped back down because it initially ran in GTs in the 2020 race, and is now returned to that class as it comes through.
It's a car that you have to be a little bit careful with in sim racing, because in some days it's a Williams esports car, and other days it's a BS Plus car. But for Le Mans Virtual,
the bumpy BMW
with the BS Plus team, which makes it kind of a customer entry to its Works entry teammate,
very rigid
which
over those
is the number
bumps
89
and
car, which
changes.
sits there in 6th
that
position
Porsche's looking
right now.
nicely controlled.
This is P1 Esport there. I think this is showing just how much of a difficult circuit this is. 1 second, this is the biggest gap I think we've probably had.
Currently a second off the pace,
maybe
though.
Spa might have been something similar, but
so I think they're starting on that now,
fairly shorter circuit. This is a big gap, isn't it, between the field? 1 second separating 13 cars is not usually what we see in the Le Mans Virtual Series, but that just goes to show how difficult the Sebring circuit is.
Hakkinen starts, that's Turkka Hakkinen for P1 Esports, the Triple One machine, as we watch D-Station start their lap. I can tell you that the BMW of Marla has gone up to 12th position, so again, not a massively strong lap from Michele Di Alessandro. And our graphics now showing just the top 13, so relegating the number 25 in-speed racing Porsche down to last. They're in the pits right now. Big shock for me, at least, is that we've got Moritz Lerner in the number 11 car in his Project One by Dury Sports team. They are down penultimate, in 15th position. Now, Moritz Lerner started the year with no experience, really, on this platform.
Well, I think Lerner in P15 is more down to the fact that he's currently sitting on a rig, most likely being stored somewhere in the
struggling for the moment at
on the Sim Racing Expo in Nuremberg.
D-Station currently down in
probably not his rig that he will run at home. So yeah, Sim Racing drivers are very sensitive to their stuff.
Again, having a difficult second sector.
Put me into a different rig and I'm half a second on the pace as well.
Maranello and BMW Team Redline are able to do, and that's a similar story for P1 Esport as well.
Don't forget that the performance over
Mihai,
one
you are
is
watching
very
the official stream right here.
over one stint in our endurance race kicking off tomorrow.
So Stolze, look at it, third plus one.
The Aston Martin bouncing all over
0.625. Siggy was faster in that though.
Bailing out of that one, but look at the far right of screen. That's the 51 machine lighting up the timing screens. Here is SF
Lost
Velas.
10th in the middle sector though, so I think that is roughly 70 thousandths of the pace. We'll be down to the final sector now with
Casper
Casper.
Stoltz is really attacking. The car moving
Siggy
around a lot.
43.550 in sector 1. That is purple indeed.
Back straight. Coming to this final
Nothing the BMW can do against the Ferrari then in the sector.
Below it. SF
a bit
standing
wide,
for
felt like a bit missing the apex. Let's see where he sorts himself in.
Towards the line, and
Stolz,
ahead
oh,
of its
4,000 missing
customer
to
teammate.
Siggy.
No improvement in the end there. Well, slight improvement up to third position.
Here comes Siggy in the middle sector.
Between the 26
well, look at it.
and the
He's
71
losing
at the head of the field.
3 tenths to Melgera in the middle sector. 3
more, but it's been a big
freaking
loss in the middle sector.
Yeah.
And we know Siggy.
Yeah.
Siggy is a monster in qualifying.
Well, it seems to be that's it. Just has the upper hand. It's not the first time we've seen it smash the first sector and then lose time in the second and possibly final sector.
Carty is absolutely right about that.
RAG look like they're on to improve in P5 there. They've just done 2 personal bests. Well, it must have been a mistake for Kevin Siggy there because he's rolled into pit lane. He's going to go for 1 more, I think.
The thing is, in their cockpit, they can see the mini sectors, so they can get to the sunset bend. They can know that they're not going to make up 2.5 tenths in the final corner, and so head straight to pit lane. Yeah. Here is the 888 and up to second position. Whoa! Just 0.02 of a second off pole position. Risto Capit has made it 1-2 for Ferrari. 2 separate teams and not the works team.
RAG. And we can see up into P2. Fantastic for the tripper. Fantastic lap there from the 888, as you said. Only 0.02 of a second between them.
Let's not forget, though,
but that was the final blow for Siggy. Not for Siggy, for Capit.
For every single one of their cars for an infringement on Article 17 of the Code of Conduct. And therefore, great to show the potential here. Up into second position, but they're going to drop right into the traffic come race day and that really tricky first turn.
That will make that even more frustrating, won't it, knowing where they could have been up there in P2. Here's in speed and just making their way down the Ormond Straight on to improve on this lap. At least through the second sector. They've done a personal best. Let's see if they can improve. A team who are definitely focusing on the 24-hour race. Make their way through the final corner now.
That was missing a lot to the apex.
Bring the gap down to the rest of the field.
Learner's home. Okay.
Will it be a personal best lap for them?
Too much,
not quite.
Too much daytime activity.
Just 1 minute. And
I don't want to judge him, of course. He is an outstanding driver. Maybe some other issue as well.
Last attempt. Ferrari does seem to be the car to have, and in fact, SF Velas have not left the pits. They cannot do another lap.
No, neither will Pro Drive, which is coming off the back of
Melgera now.
2 second place finishes as well for Pro Drive.
On his way.
However, that is a team
on the
that
outlap.
tends to go better in the race stints, shall we say. They've done very well over the longer stints, so I would keep an eye on them for tomorrow, but they're going to be in 11th, and it seems they've settled for that.
Another real surprise is the number 99 Oracle Racing Red Bull, the Works Red Bull Racing team, down in 12th position, and Dennis Jordan is inconspicuous completely.
Half a second off the top Porsche car, so yeah, it's they could have been fighting for a top 5. The pace of the Porsche definitely has the potential to do that, but Red Bull Racing,
I mean, honestly, guys, look at it.
Messy last corner from D station, but
Team Red Line with Siggy. Siggy is able to outpace everyone, and I really mean everyone in that grid.
We now focus our attention on 26 Sim
But he can't because of the BMW.
10 seconds to get around sunset and to start their lap to protect their advantage. I think some people here are going to miss out on getting a last lap, and certainly the BMW of BS Competition are one, Sim Maranello are another. Surely, just waiting for the graphic to confirm that. Yes.
Yeah. Sim Maranello don't make the flag, as you said. Ferris Stanley didn't make it.
They lose the pole because of that.
BS Competition. And,
where is Siggy?
Also the flag.
I think Siggy. Yeah, Siggy has started the lap indeed.
over to red line, and let's see what they do through the first sector.
Look
they go
at it.
Well, that's no surprise.
Well, that's
really,
not purple.
we expected that.
Overall.
What they can do now through the sector.
He did
then.
faster sector
this
1
car then bouncing over the tarmac changes of Sebring. Can he find a little bit more pace in the middle sector? He's got
especially the middle sector. The BMW is struggling big time.
This middle sector, and he's already got a 10th on his best previous in the first. It might not actually be enough to get him on that pole position, such as the gap to Sim Maranello. But BMW Team Redline, our championship
crazy.
leaders. Yes, this is
it's so
better.
crazy.
Yeah. And I'll tell you who else
he just lost 1.5 tenths. If the final sector is decent, he may get up to pole, with Malgera not being able to defend from it,
5 or 6 positions
because he missed
the
line by 2
Here
seconds.
Comes Dennis Jordan to the checkered flag then.
Papa Jordan.
Is going to put Red Bull, just one position up, 12th position for them. What about Kevin Siggy?
V-Men's Racing, thank you for the subscription, appreciate it.
The first part of the barrier, then brings it back to the second part. Now tries to avoid the biggest of the bumps and let the car run wide to the barrier, as wide as you possibly dare. Lots of momentum over the line, and Kevin Siggy stays in 3rd position. It is an improvement,
crazy close.
An incredible improvement.
With a so bad BMW. I mean, look at it. Between him and the next BMW, there's just easy 4/10 to Ferris Stanley in the next BMW, and the next BMW after Stanley is down in 15th, 9/10 of the pace. But there you go with the BMW pace.
Because the 888 car is going to have that 10-place grid drop.
Crazy stuff.
So that's actually worked out quite nicely for BMW Team Redline. They will have clear track ahead going into that infamous turn 1. They're not going to be in traffic, but even 1 or 2 positions back, and it could be a real struggle for them.
Yeah, so 2 apiece that is for BMWs and Ferraris this season for pole positions.
Here it is then. Sim Maranello.
Oh, while you guys are watching the result of the GTEs, I think we go for a pee break, and then we're gonna enjoy the LMP2s together and hope for a strong result for the Funwell boys.
Proton Coanda up to 4th position, and then a little bit of a gap to BMW Team BS, who missed out on that last lap. Simsa in 7th. D-Station with a good qualifying in 8th position. Proton Coanda in 9th spot, and then P1 Esports in 10th. Satellite Racing in their Aston Martin, 11th spot, with Oracle Red Bull Racing head scratching in 12th. ProDrive down in 13th position. They'll be looking to do better tomorrow. And then Project One by and also the BMW M8 of Marla down in 15th position. So that strategy, whatever they were trying to do, it didn't really work out for them.
Didn't really work, no. But some surprises, but more down the grid than up the grid, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Really, for sort of the likes of ProDrive and Oracle Red Bull Racing, definitely out of position. And then we're going to have RAG, someone who should have been on the front row, out of position for a penalty as well. So that's going to make things interesting for tomorrow.
And the real struggle, the real problem with that is the traffic in turn 1. We've seen so often chaos as it funnels into turn 2, and you've got the pace, but you're going to have to be so patient. Yeah,
and it's not. This is the shortest race of the calendar. This isn't the race where you want to be chasing, is it? But here we can see the pole position lap from Malgera for Sim Maranello, and you can just see they're moving the car around, coming through the second sequence of corners. Not the approach they're going to take in the race for the 3.5 hours tomorrow, but when you're trying to get every inch out of the lap, it's absolutely fantastic.
And that is absolutely clear. Look how pointy this car is. When he turns it in, it goes exactly where he wants it, and then he's rotating it just a little bit more on the throttle. So you couldn't do that for more than about 3 laps. You destroy your tyres. And that's why qualifying is one thing, but the race is very, very different. They're going to have a completely different setup tomorrow. And how will the car manage it? Missing the apex just a little bit there, just giving it a little bit more room than perhaps he would have wanted. And now it's more of an acceleration out towards the back end of the circuit. Hooks that one up beautifully, bounces perfectly to the outside. Now you come towards these sweepers, which is named Le Mans. And again, the car just, the rear end following the fronts beautifully.
absolutely fantastic stuff. You see it keeping it over to the left there, opens up this right-hander, running it perfectly to the edge. And now you can take a bit of a breath down the Ulman Straight before you have to start bracing yourself for Sunset Bend.
Let's have a look at how he approaches this, because as you said at the top of the show, there are so many different approaches. Turn in early, he gives it a lot more room, that first apex, than we saw the BMW. He turns in a lot later, which gives him a little bit more space on the exit to run out, and the car just looked hooked up. Sim Maranello have got a great qualifying setup, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. The car, as you said, just going everywhere he wanted it to go, and an absolutely fantastic lap as well there from Malguera. Fully deserved pole position.
Well, let's take a quick break before we head on to our LMP category qualifying, and again, thank one of our great sponsors. We have established the last 16 positions on our grid for the 500 miles of Sebring, and now it's time to award the rest of the grid positions to our LMP category. It's absolutely stacked full of talent, whether it be from the sim world or from the real world. We've got Formula 2 drivers from the 1990s, and we've got our F1 world champion in our entry.
Then here we go,
we
guys.
might not necessarily see them until tomorrow, but ultimately it is so exciting.
Going to
for
be
me.
such a great, crazy qualifying.
All the other names that are coming from the real world into this category to get themselves warmed up for Le Mans.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we've got the likes, as you said, of Ayanchen Juven there, Raffaele Marcello, Roman Grosjean as well. Absolutely fantastic to see him
even
back.
doing the qualifying.
Van Eiter, Josh Skelton is an up-and-coming driver in the
GT
world
no
as well.
Way.
So the list goes on.
I think that's random.
Them out if you
that's
to go
not the
all,
people
but,
in the qualifying,
so many
I guess.
Fantastic drivers in there.
And also interesting to see people who've got great experience, for instance, Arthur Rouget on other platforms, and the teams going, hey, you're good at sim racing, come to us. And being attracted to this series. And also for someone like Roman Grosjean to come back again. He only needs to do one round of the championship to kind of qualify as a pro driver in this series. And yet he was in the last round. He's doing this. And of course, he'll have to be at Le Mans.
Yeah, absolutely. James Baldwin we've got out there as well, who put in a real fantastic performance for the AMG team last time. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes. He did a real fantastic job. Yeah,
we mentioned drivers, but let's talk about teams for a second. Those works entries from Mercedes, such a big hype at the start of the season with a great lineup running just down the road from where we are here in the Mercedes factory. There are some big names, and yet the legitimate names of Redline, there they are.
Yeah. I mean, to get that win last time for them has just promoted them up the order in the championship, now in the top 6 in the standings. And this is one of the rounds where we don't get the biggest amount of points. 25 you get for the win here. But if you can be within contention going into that 24-hour race, you can easily go and take the win in the championship.
Here is the Sebring International Raceway that has hosted endurance racing. The very first WEC race back in 2012 was held here, and it has been a regular 12-hour race. We do 500 miles. Crucial overtaking opportunity at the hairpin turn of turn 7, reprofiled over, I think, in the mid-80s, and then the back end of the circuit at Le Mans. We need the full reprofile of the track to get rid of the bumps, please. And then the Sunset Bend, the last turn, which has so much of a challenge. We shouldn't need our wet tyres today.
Patrick, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the watch party of the qualifying for tomorrow's Sebring 500.
Our qualifying session,
so,
there is no doubt.
Qualifying galore. I see a green flag on the live timing. So here we go.
What we have had is no one winning from pole position. So do you want to take pole position? I don't really know. As we say that, cars are now starting to leave the pit lane, of course. And one thing we do have to keep an eye on is the R8G guys as well. If they are at the head of the field, we will, of course, see those penalties.
That will not be nice for Jan in the first lap.
Top 3 in GT were within 4.5 hundredths of a second. LMP has always been closer in qualifying so far, and so I'm not quite sure how we're going to be able to separate some of our top runners. But anyway, they're on circuit.
Thank you, Patrick. That is onto Action GG. But
as we go into the evening sunset. Always lovely of Florida. It's so flat that you get a fantastic sunset at Sebring. And of course, they have not only the 24 hours in March, sorry, the 12 hours in March.
Yes.
They always say a 12-hour race at Sebring is like a 24 hours at Le Mans. Such as the endurance on the car, the bumps and the drivers.
They
also have historic racing and plenty of other national championships around the circuit. My father said to me, "You need to have good facts about Sebring." And I said, well, I think I've got a few. He said, "How far is it from Daytona?" 2.5 hours drive, so it's not far away from the coast, but it is very much in the centre of Florida.
Ah, there we go.
There is the AMG
I'm going to compete
Mercedes
tomorrow,
machine.
Blue Glove
It's,
Racing.
silver nose.
So if you're interested in seeing
end.
us drive, make sure you subscribe
good result last time
and watch the race tomorrow.
In the right direction.
We're going to have a watch party, obviously, for the time being, where we're not race.
And took the win last time.
And then, obviously, for the double stint duty,
taking it to the flag for them in the end.
Get the
a team effort all around, really. They put in a really good performance. It was a hard race to call at times. There was many teams in contention for finishing on the podium, but AMG really rose to the occasion.
20 minutes
when
time. I think everyone gets 4 shots if things are going
all
right.
Put themselves in contention
Here we go.
for the championship with a
First
result like
set
that,
of
with the
laps
points
coming
that they got
down.
from it. So yeah, let's
look
see
at
what
the
they
sparks
can go do.
of
They'll
the
be
cars.
fine with confidence now.
Oh, throws it into
Dropping
turn
on the
1, and
floor.
they're not sure if the rear end really stuck. Here it's the green flag at the end of pit lane.
Oh,
oh dearie me. Williams going into the back of the
Was
Floyd
the
Van
Williams
Wall
with the bonk?
4 machine. So that is... so Dennis Scourin driving for Van Wall Burst. And yes, that is... Who is in the 53 then? Wisniewski going into the back of him. So Wisniewski is
nah, it's not
in the
scroll on
AMG
taking the quality.
Williams
It
run
should be
machine.
Yannick.
Here is the 63,
Is
which
he
is
with-
the AMG.
Yeah, I think
AMG
the,
team, which is known as the AMG
leaderboard's
Petronas
still
team on our
updating
entry list, and it
correct
heads
names.
the fastest. Through the first sector, Bono Huis is there, right there, in our inset and in the car.
There he is.
Or is it Bono House? Or is it Bono?
House,
I'm sticking with Huis, because it's definitely not House. No chance.
That's what Lewis says.
I know, but it doesn't mean Lewis is always right. He's right a lot of the time.
Not House. House would be O-U-S-E.
I just tend to say, okay, if you say so, then I'll agree with you.
I wonder whether Bono is down the road at Brackley in the
But when he
facilities
says
at,
Bono, I'm always
Simrum
thinking
facility
I'd beat the Bono.
at the
I can't
Mercedes
help it.
factory.
I can't
He's
help it.
at home back in Holland. Another Dutch driver, Team Red Lions,
Mr. Apex, though.
getting it all crossed up there. Having to get
that
out
Weeks, or
of the
was that
throttle. We've
Huis?
got drive-through penalties for 3 separate cars, including this one.
Wow.
Have they gone? No, we're going to have to find out why that is. And how does a drive-through penalty get kind of done in a qualifying session?
I imagine the same way, really.
Well, it doesn't really penalise you then, does it?
No.
It's not a penalty.
Well, it does stop you from putting a lap.
44-4.
It does.
Oh, you reckon you have to actually
Chinchik
drive through?
44-0.
Yes, absolutely.
Right, okay,
That is
yeah.
a crazy
And that would
first
be,
lap.
definitely annoying. The amount of time you're actually going to lose from that is quite significant, really.
Yeah, with a
A reminder, if you're
44-3,
just tuning
David
in,
44-5.
The R8G team,
Those
every
are
single vehicle
solid
has
first
a 10
laps.
second,
Not super
sorry,
quick,
a 10
but solid.
place
But a
grid drop,
44-0.
for an infraction after
Holy
the last round. And so at the
you
moment
know
we
the word.
have a number 8 on the pole position, but that will only equate to 10th spot once those penalties are awarded. Bono Huis then is the provisional pole holder right now, with Wisniewski in the Mercedes Williams run machine in second position behind them.
And we can see the number 86 making its way out of the final corner.
Oh yes,
the
obviously
rFactor
Chinchik
eSport
with a
team.
10
And they come up
place
to
grid drop.
the line to get on another flyer. rFactor eSports, who have had a bit of a difficult season so far. Best result for them is 16th. Let's see what they can do this time, and that's where they currently run in this session as we look at ARC Bratislava now coming round Sunset Bend. And they're going to come straight into pit lane as well. So looks like most have got in that first flying lap. Like we had in GTs, they'll put in a flying lap and then they'll return to the pits change tyres and go out and repeat the process.
Traffic's going to be a bit more of a problem here. We've got 24 cars on the entry list. Not all of them went out at the start of the session, so we are seeing a bit of a stagger. But as we can see here, riding on board with the number 20 Porsche Coanda machine, Guven, Tommy Usgaard and Michel de Jong.
Sounds better.
You're pronouncing.
The traffic for them to contend with right now. Who's in that car? De Jong doing the qualifying.
Yeah, they're just coming up, as you said, to complete that lap. Let's see what
the other Porsche,
in lap, shall I say, into the pits they go.
Don't have a lap time.
So now pretty much everyone is back in. Already some of the teams making their way
the other
back
Porsche?
out again. So RHG, a great first lap for them, but as you said, it's damage limitation really. That's the best possible thing they can do is get 10th place. AMG Petronas currently, almost a crash going into the pit lane there. AMG Petronas currently on to take pole position.
Now here's the legitimate full Williams entry. And we will see in that car Sami Matti-Trogan, Jack Keithley and Peter Bergelac running across our 4 hours. It's Bergelac who is qualifying the car, and he is just starting a lap. So we get a chance to see how this Williams machine is coping. Plenty of bumps, as you can see, with a GTE category car, because it's got softer suspension, you don't see as many of the bumps. These things are set up like skateboards, and so you see every single little nook and cranny, every single break of tarmac.
They are like,
I don't know if many of them are wearing VR, but it's a horrible experience, I have to say. One of the few places I wouldn't want to use my VR headset racing around Sebring. The back
I so much agree.
The big
This is the only race where one is using a little bit of horizontal stabilizer in the graphics settings.
This has been a
because otherwise you just turn and having a headache within
weekend,
seconds.
Where they've struggled with over the course of the couple of seasons we've had. Getting a good qualifying result in. They tend to make it up on race day, but if they can get a good qualifying together, then they really could start getting some good results in. Here we see that Porsche Coanda car, the number 20.
Yeah, that's just come out the pits, having bailed on their first lap, so no time set for Mitchell de Jong. There he is in the Coanda household, which is a surprise.
Is he on a lap though?
Being American,
no, he's on the out
come
lap.
Down to Europe to be part of the team in their house in Germany. Usually Mitchell is racing from the US.
It looks like the number 65 there, getting into the top 10, the Panish racing team, going up to 9th place, so decent lap time from them.
De Jong lets
Rietveld
through. Bergelac, one of the few drivers on a lap right now.
No, he just pitted it.
And that
Williams
eSports car will come across the line ahead.
And I think it's about time. Yes, so Cinczyk with a new sector 1.
Starts his lap.
Mrożek, 1.5 tenths off that. What is about
half a second between our top 10
2 tenths off that.
But now we're starting to see some improvements in the first sector. As the first sectors come in, we can see the RHG number 8 has improved. In fact, not worth going through it. Every car that has gone through the first sector within the top 10, all going quicker on this lap. And one of the quickest of them is actually the number 23 of Josh Rogers. He is on an absolute flyer, so we'll have to keep an eye on him. He's currently down in 6th place, but on to improve in that Porsche Coanda.
This is the car that is provisionally on the pole position right now. We'll have Arthur Rougier, new to that team, Yuri Toman and Marcel Cinczyk, who is the man doing
with
the
the purple middle sector.
Rougier, very
De Jong with the purple first sector is so crazy. It's going to be so crazy
and also
close.
In the real world as well as the virtual.
What a send of Cinczyk through that final turn.
Champion last year, and that is a very strong.
This is so crazy.
And French, they do love to have French in their team.
43.860 in the second
clear of the
attempt.
rest of the field. That's a wiggle from Josh Rogers.
And he lost
Porsche
roughly
Coanda
2 tenths in the final
turn. It's looking like it's going to be a good lap though. An improvement from Wisniewski, but he gets toppled by Rogers. Rogers up into second position though, as Mitchell de Jong is in the final sector and looking like he will improve, but at the moment nobody can touch Cinczyk, who's still 1.5 tenths clear of the rest of the field.
He hits the bump and the apex as well,
de Jong, the American,
going a bit wide,
looking to the line, and it's a second spot for him. They are chipping away at the advantage of the Hungarian, but nobody close enough right now.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant time there from the Porsche Coanda. Wouldn't be the first time
44.2, decent.
Either between the two of them.
David with a 44.2 as well in 6th and 7th.
Great stuff. AMG Williams going well in 4th place there as well. Where's Team Redline? They're down in 10th championship leaders, so struggling so far.
The animals
effectively also 2 tenths to the cars ahead.
Porsche, AMG, Van Wall at the moment, and then RHG. And I say that ignoring the first position because, of course, RHG are going to have that penalty. So at the moment, we do have a Porsche Coanda 1-2 on provisional pole. Bit of a weird one because obviously on our timing screens, they're 2nd and 3rd, but ultimately they have that front row lockout. On board with Alpine.
Panis.
Sorry, Panis.
Same country.
Well, yeah.
Close enough.
Red cheese. I can say that I'm married to one. It's okay. Just before anybody says I'm being disgenerous. And it's Florian Leberg who is aboard that machine. Down at the moment in 12th position. We'll share it with Job van Uitert and Quentin Vallier.
We've seen them in the we've seen them in the top 10 this season. Panis Racing Team, always in and around it. They've had a consistent run so far. 12th in the standings for them, so knocking on the door of the top 10. Can they get in it in qualifying here? They come up to the line now.
Let's not forget that, unlike many other championships, drivers do have to observe the real rules of qualifying. So you can't just end their lap, park it in the gravel and press escape. Yeah. They have to go back into pit lane. Yeah. If you cannot make it back into pit lane, then you cannot continue your qualifying session. You cannot just bail. Most cars doing their in-laps, going into the pits, and now heading back out onto circuit for another attempt. We can only assume that our 3 drivers that got themselves penalties at the start of the session have served those drive-through penalties.
Yeah, that was a bit of a weird... Whoa. Who was that?
Who was in the gravel there?
First corner. Found their way back again.
Very polite of them to give them so much room.
Yeah. Was that the Williams car? I don't know who that was. I wouldn't like to take a guess, actually.
Well, they were good because Panis was starting a lap just then.
Yeah.
So they get well out of the way of Fabian. As we now focus our attention on Bono Huis.
We can see Panis have gone quicker through the first sector as well. Personal best for them. Need 2.5 tenths back, so that's a good start to the lap for them. But
who is 3.5 tenths
losing a bit of time through
straight aboard that lap.
Second sector, unfortunately.
Bono's lost 0.2 of a second in the first sector alone. Again, another lock-up at the front right inside wheel. We saw that.
Man, that Chinchik guy is crazy though.
Again at Tower, the hairpin and Tower, the 2 big braking zones around this Sebring circuit.
Chewbacca, we're number 4 and 444 in 6th and 7th.
Second sector.
Seems Team Redline have now joined qualifying by their standards. We haven't really seen them so far.
Well, I think that's because they've served that penalty. So you were saying that it was going to penalise them. They've had to do a lap, go into the pits, drive through the pits, come back, go into the pits again. So they're completely off schedule. Yeah. And finally, we're seeing Jeffrey Rietveld getting a lap time in, only down in 11th position right now, but on course to really join the party at the sharp end of the field. Huis through the final corner, but I think he's going to bail on this one.
Yeah, let's see what he does.
He doesn't, but I don't know why.
What is...
It isn't going to be... Oh, it is an improvement. How weird. Okay.
There we go.
What?
It's a really good improvement, up to 3rd position.
He must have found something through in the mini sectors. It must have been coming up there. He'd done something very special through that last sector. In fact, he did.
Oh my God! Imagine who is to not be half a second off
for claiming or taking off provisional pole position from RHG.
Oh,
and he does by nearly 0.3 of a second on his first proper attempt. Rietveld has stunned again in a car that he will share with Max Beneke and Max Verstappen tomorrow, and he puts them on the very best possible opportunity. But the Porsche Coanda will be fighting back. We still have 5 minutes remaining.
That AMG Petronas, though, on their lap time, they were 2 tenths quicker through the final sector of Team Redline. So don't count them out of a pole position just yet. If Bono Huis can go and do another lap time like that.
Well, he's got the sectors.
If he can hook up all those sectors and put them together, then it might be them that lead the way tomorrow.
Lost 0.2 of a second in the first sector, lost another 0.2 of a second in the final sector, and then found a chunk in the final. So if he can go faster in those first two and equal his second, he can be right up there with Redline. An improvement from R8G up into in second position, but improvement on time. Time doesn't really matter for them. They need
no, I couldn't even do a freaking 43.
The 18 car up to third position. That's the
Rogers
car that will
fifth,
see
43.5.
And
it's just as crazy
tomorrow. So 2 pro drivers in that car.
Change for first.
Now the Young is coming. Wait for
I
it.
think the graphics need a little bit of a reset. Oh no, there we go. Now it comes in. Kawanda, Josh Rogers to the pole position. We followed De Jong round the final turn. Maybe he will now get himself up onto the pole position. No, a poor final sector. Only 4th for the second Porsche Kawanda car.
Great stuff from Josh Rogers. There we go. This is what it's
starting
to look like. This is how close we've seen it throughout the season. I just want to see the AMG Petronas car.
He's on his cool-down lap. 44.1.
We're going to see an improvement from the 101 car.
It is going to be the final lap that counts now anyway, because the track obviously is improving over the course of the session.
About to get a good lap time.
So Team Redline is going to get another chance.
On an improvement is the Rocket SimSport car as well.
I'm afraid also both Porsches will get.
Returning to the pit lane to put on fresh tyres. Rocket SimSport do
improve. Need to have a look at it.
But only to 17th.
Yeah.
Pescarolo Esports.
At least the number 23. Not sure about the 20.
Them through the final sector of the lap.
The 20 might just be off too far.
To rejoin the hypercar field at Le Mans for 2024. That Pescarolo name so synonymous as a driver.
They will do it as well.
Also as a manufacturer and team.
What about
Yane? Great to have them back in the real world, and it's fantastic to see them represented in the virtual world by 2 Romanian drivers.
So yeah, it's David waiting
and
for
Robert Pound and Hungarian Martin
the right moment to go out.
Through the final turn they go. They're
in
20th position right now. You can see that on their board on the
traffic
side of the car.
jam.
And do they improve?
Terrace, 2 more in a row. We have Max Verstappen here.
Yeah.
Oh no, they don't improve. That's yeah, that was an improvement. Sorry, thought they were on the start of the lap. So they're actually not going to get another lap, are they? With 2 minutes and 20 minutes, 20 seconds remaining.
Their only option is to just try one more, but yeah, they're not going to get the most out of it. So yeah, for them, that's probably the session over.
Good to say hi.
Yeah. Whilst everyone else is coming out of the pit lane to get ready for what is sometime always a frantic end to the session, isn't it? Always see plenty of things going on. The timing screens tend to light up in this final lap.
I'm a bit concerned for the 20 here. I'm watching the timing screens. De Jong is still not out of the pits. We've only got a minute and 40 seconds.
There they come now.
Yeah, but that's too late because the pit lane,
too late indeed.
The lap time flat out is 1 minute and 43.5, and they're not going flat out. They've got to get out of the pits. So I think the 20. Mitchell De Jong is not going to get another lap in. So 4th at best here.
Wednesday.
With cars behind. Certainly 2 AMGs, and you'd say the Van Walls as well, with the potential to improve.
Yeah, it's they've just got it timed a little bit wrong there because they've not actually come through the first sector yet.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
yeah, it's you might be right with that one.
First person to break the first sector for the final time then, Nico Wisniewski in the 53, the Le Mans winning lineup from the very first Le Mans Virtual.
38.9.
And representing AMG,
good one.
Thanks to Williams. Pescarolo going for a second lap there because they knew they had no other option. Wisniewski on a 38.9 through that first sector. Behind him, he's got the number 2 Team Redline machine of Luke Bennett.
I don't know, Sharon.
Bennett is entered for the number 1 for the full season, but subbing in the number 2 with Luke Browning and Diogo Pinto. But he's a little slower than this car. Here is Nikodem Wisniewski. Middle sector, no better than he's managed before. 3.5 tenths down, but ultimately they're nearly 5 tenths down ultimately. So if this is a good final sector...
Anyway, as I said, it comes down to the final lap now.
Yep, all he needs to do is just
people
find
are about
a
to
little
start
bit of time
this moment
through the final sector, and you can make a lot of time. Oh, how close was that out of Sunset Bend?
Utilising the track and more, over the line he goes. It's no improvement from Wisniewski. He actually comes across the line before the flag, so he could go again, although it's probably unnecessary. And now we wait from what's happening behind.
And it's confirmed
so
that
there comes Team Red Line.
Not going to be able to
the
get
number
a final
2.
lap in as well.
Yeah, he's just
See
taken
what
the flag.
they can do as they are currently
in
in
This is the number
P13
2 red line car, goes up into
P8
8th position and takes the checkered flag. I'm waiting for the number 4. Where is Van
yeah,
Hall?
they with a personal best.
10th position only right now.
David Sedley with a 10.5 off.
Does a personal best through the first sector. Simončić, who the number 4 has been fairly quiet in this session. Here they are. We haven't really seen much of them.
Ooh,
they've done a
that's
personal
a
best,
mistake.
but as you can see, currently struggling a little bit.
Look, number 1, Team Redline, P, into the pits already. So they either missed the cut or... No, they couldn't have gone into the pits after bailing out of a lap, so they missed it. And that has handed Porsche Coanda with potentially a pole position. Here is Simončić, which is 7/10 down, so this not really going to be an improvement. In fact, he pulls across to let the 18 car pass. 5th position for RHE. Is it going to be an improvement for them? They are not on a better lap, although Bono Huis is. Here is Bono Huis. And a change
if he does his perfect final sector, he's going to take the pole.
Team Petronas going through the final turn. Out of sight, RHE have gone provisional pole. Is there an improvement from AMG Petronas? No, there isn't. No, there isn't. Stay 6th. There is the 8 that's got provisional pole, but it's not going to be the pole position. It's fastest in qualifying, yes, but Coanda, Porsche Coanda 23 at the moment on the provisional pole position. And they've taken the checker flag. There's nobody out there that can do another lap. Wisniewski could, but he hasn't. And so that
long
is
runs,
our grid.
long runs.
What a really very bizarre qualifying.
And that'll be back-to-back pole positions for them as well. The number 23 Porsche.
Chewbacca, yes, we got Jesper Pedersen.
And
on the number 4.
We'll be trying to convert that
to
a bit of a better result this time around. But RHG, good damage limitation performance from them.
It's a bit of a setback, to be honest.
Get that pole position, and they now give themselves a good chance to fight back for the win tomorrow.
Sunset falls over Sunset Bend at Sebring, and qualifying is over. The LMP category have their grid formed. The GTE category already with their Ferraris on pole position, and it's another works manufacturer that have grabbed the pole position here.
Well, I guess
Sebring.
we have to do some
so much excitement over Porsche's return to Le Mans in the hypercar category
because
in 2023.
on this track it's particularly hard to overtake.
WEC, and will have their opening race here at Sebring in March next year. And in the virtual world, they have the pole position. They'll line up though alongside our championship leaders, the number 1. Oh, no, sorry, the number 1 is not our championship leaders, are they?
It is, yeah.
No, they are our championship leaders, despite the trials and tribulations of Verstappen last time out. Verstappen will be in that car tomorrow. So, ignore the number 8 machine. That has a 10-place grid drop and will line up, therefore, in 10th position. The front row will be Porsche Coanda versus Team Redline, with the Coanda number 20 alongside... Oh, I didn't see what their next car was.
It'll be the 63.
It'll be the 63, won't it? Because the 18 drops out as well. Then we have the 53, the number 2 Team Redline. And
so we gain 1 spot at least,
10th position
2
for
with the number 4.
The pole claimer, the fastest team. And there are some of the other cars that were in that qualifying session. All 24 qualified. And we'll have a right mixed-up grid going into that turn 1 tomorrow.
Well.
Time to the UK.
Tomorrow's race day. Tomorrow's crunch time, guys.
Well, there you go.
That's gonna do it always, for this one. That's gonna do it for the for the qualifying. I think it's going to be P8 and P11 for us on the grid tomorrow. P8 with a 4. P11 with a 444. Yeah. We need to make up some spots on the run. Quite frankly. Reminds me a bit of Spa. Yeah, anyway, let's see. Tomorrow, guys, at 13:45, we're going to start with the watch party. And then we are racing for 4.5 hours total, roughly, because there's no rain expected. So 134 laps of racing. Will be interesting with the strategy for sure. see how this goes tomorrow then. Guys, I thank you so much for your time tonight. Thank you so much for joining us this Friday evening. Have a good weekend, everyone, and hopefully see you tomorrow on the race. If you appreciate the watch party, if you appreciate the stream, please follow up on Twitch, subscribe on the YouTube channel, and join us tomorrow for the race. And now we're gonna have a raid, obviously, to Stradi, and you guys will enjoy that. Have a good time, everyone. See you and goodbye.